This is Impact Wrestling.
Hello, and welcome again to another episode of Sudden Impact. This is the preview episode of Rebellion. So, today's episode, I'll be going through the matches and giving you my predictions for those matches. First we have first match on the listed is Fire and Flavor, which is the team of Kiera Hogan and Tasha Steelz, going up against Jordynne Grace and recently appearing and teaming with Jordynne Grace in this match, Rachel Ellering. So for those who may not know, Jordynne Grace and Jazz were a tag team in Impact Wrestling up until Jazz had to put her career on the line at the Sacrifice pay-per-view event last month against the women's champion Deonna Purrazzo. Unfortunately, she lost that match, so that meant that she had to retire and retire from wrestling completely. That was the stipulation. So Jordynne Grace was looking for someone to replace Jazz, and on last week's episode of Impact, when Jordynne had just beaten Kiera Hogan in a one-on-one match, the champions, Fire and Flavor, were beating Jordynne Grace down, and all of a sudden some music that we've never heard starts playing, and the visuals up on the Titantron were showing something going on, and all of a sudden Rachel Ellering ran down to the ring to even the odds for Jordynne Grace. So Jordynne got on the mic after that and said, "This is my new tag team partner for this the match that we're having for the tag team championships, or the Knockouts tag team championships on Sunday. Rachel Ellering, need no introduction because she was daughter of Paul Ellering, who was the manager of the Road Warriors back in the 80s and 90s, and she appeared in WWE, NXT, as well as the Mae Young Classic for several years. And so great pedigree and a great signing all around for Impact Wrestling. As far as the outcome of the match goes, I still think I'm going to have to go with Kiera and Tasha. They're just tearing it up and as champions, and you just love them, like the dirty, underhanded tactics. And when the gold's on the line, yeah, they just step up those tactics and do whatever they have to keep it. So I'm going to have to go with them, Fire and Flavor, over Tasha, Jordynne and Rachel Ellering. Alright, so the next match is Violent by Design, which is the team of Eric Young, Dina, Joe Doring and Rhino, going up against Chris Sabin, Eddie Edwards, James Storm and Willie Mack in an 8-man tag team match. So Violent by Design, specifically Eric Young, has been having an issue with James Storm due to the fact that James Storm had his 1000th match a couple of weeks ago in Impact Wrestling. James Storm was an original from Impact Wrestling, and there was so much hype and build up to that match that Eric Young felt a little bit hard done by, because he was also an original. He's been there longer than James Storm, who recently returned. There was little to no fanfare to Eric Young since he's been back with Impact Wrestling. He came back at last year's Slammiversary as the mystery opponent in that 5-way match. We all know what happened after that, and of course there have been issues with the other members of Violent by Design and the other members of James Storm's team as well. I think that just to continue the momentum that they've had, I mean, I have to go with Violent by Design because I really want to know what the reasoning is for why they're doing all this stuff. I know that they're calling themselves the Cure, and like some of the other wrestlers, the Sickness in wrestling, but I'm not sure exactly why they're doing it. But so hopefully with the win on Sunday or Sunday American time, they'll actually come out and say, hey, this is what we're doing, this is why we're doing it, we like follow us, don't follow us, we don't care, which is be totally in character for them. The next match, I think this is going to be a sleeper match for me. This has the potential to be quite a barnstormer. It's the last man standing match between Trey Miguel and Sami Callihan. I mean, Sami Callihan, he always puts on excellent matches when the time is needs it, and his feuds with each and every wrestler since he's been in Impact Wrestling has just been top notch. This match, I feel either opponent could win and go on to challenge for the World Championship later down the track. More on that later in the video. The fact is that Sami Callihan doesn't believe Trey is a team player. Like, he left Impact Wrestling briefly, Trey Miguel, when the other rascals left as well. And so, as we know, Dez and Wentz signed for NXT and have been tearing it up in NXT. I mean, they've just been doing a super job in NXT. Well done to them. No Trey Miguel. And then a couple of weeks after that, Trey Miguel came back to Impact Wrestling, tearing it up ever since. But Sami Callihan is not buying it. He's questioning where Trey's loyalties lie, and well, that was in the first instance. And then he moved on to saying, oh yeah, Trey can't win the big one. He always gets to the tip of the mountain, like the edge of the mountain, and just can't seem to take the ball and run, or whatever analogy you want to use. He just doesn't have the it factor or what it takes to go the whole way. And Trey Miguel was saying, yeah, I do. And so that's what's led to this match. I'm really not sure who's going to win. I would like Trey Miguel to win just so he can move on with this and challenge for other things, X Division Championship, World Championship, or whatever he chooses to do. Trey Miguel, but I wouldn't be surprised if Sami Callihan won it in the end, but who knows. And then the next match is Matt Cardona versus his best friend in Brian Myers. These two are best friends outside of the wrestling ring, outside of the Impact Wrestling ring. They've got their own podcast. So it's been really interesting to see the dynamic these two have been having in Impact Wrestling. And I think this match is also going to be a good one. As to the winner of the match, I think it's going to be Brian Myers, because he's got more to prove and he's wanting to actually break out on his own and do his own thing, separate from Matt Cardona. The two of them were in WWE for the past 20 years, known as Zack Ryder and Kurt Hawkins, respectively. And so they were always teaming together, won numerous tag team championships, and basically both their journeys in WWE ended pretty sourly. But Brian Myers immediately came to Impact Wrestling, whereas Matt Cardona took some time to come to Impact Wrestling. Now that he's here, it seems to Myers that everything is going his way, like to Cardona. So we'll wait to see what happens, but I do see Brian Myers winning this match. He just wants it more. And our second championship match for the night is the next match. It's a three-way match between Ace Austin, Josh Alexander, and TJP. And it's for the X Division Championship. The matches that these three have had, beautiful. Can't fault any of them. But I don't see Ace Austin losing this match. I think he's going to have a rocket strapped to his back and go all the way this year. He's going to get that massive push, and this holding this championship is the beginnings of that push. And you can't count out Madman Fulton, who is coming down to the ring with Ace Austin. You always got to watch out for that guy. He's crazy. Yeah, so I just see an all-out, crazy, insane match where action spilling out all over the ring and around the ring, and insane moves happening. And yeah, I just feel like this is going to be one of the matches of the night. Still see Ace Austin coming away with the title because he would do anything to keep that title. And Madman Fulton, he's got Madman Fulton. You can't count the big man out. The next match is the Knockouts Championship match between champion Deonna Purrazzo and Tennille Dashwood, who won a number one contenders match at Hardcore Justice most recently. This is quite an interesting match. I'm glad to see that they're finally giving Tennille Dashwood a chance to challenge for the championship. I mean, that's why she signed for the company in the first place. I know there was like whole issues with border restrictions, X, Y, and Z. That's why they weren't able to do this match earlier. But Deonna Purrazzo is one of the best female wrestlers in the world, and she's one of the most technically gifted wrestlers in the world. And I just don't see Tennille beating her. I mean, it's going to be an excellent match. It might be over very quickly, or it might take quite a while to finish. Either way, I'm going to be entertained. I'm going with Deonna Purrazzo for it. Tennille, like to see Tennille with the championship during her time in Impact. I just don't feel this is her time. Now, the next match is the Impact Tag Team Championship match, and the champions are FinJuice. Yes, FinJuice from New Japan Wrestling, New Japan Pro Wrestling. Sorry, the tag team champions. They beat the Good Brothers earlier this year for the championship. Yeah, they took the championships back to New Japan, just tearing it up. And those two were the Good Brothers young boys when they were in New Japan. And well, now it seems that the apprentice has now become the master with those two. And the Good Brothers, Gallows and Anderson, are not liking that much. And well, it's just going to be what it is. And it's a great way to have New Japan Wrestling, Pro Wrestling, start up their relationship again with Impact Wrestling. I mean, there were several times over the years where New Japan Pro Wrestling and Impact Wrestling's relationship were frosty at best. And having these two guys from New Japan Pro Wrestling as the tag team champions has gone a long way to mending those fences, as well as the fact that Gallows and Anderson also would be appearing for New Japan down the track, even though they're contracted to Impact Wrestling. It's just like that revolving, like open forbidden door, whatever you call it, whatever Tony Khan chooses to call it. Speaking of Tony Khan, this is the next match. this match has actually gone by with little fanfare on AEW's part, which is, I feel, a real missed opportunity, because they've got Kenny Omega, who is the AEW champion. He's the AAA Wrestling Mega Champion, New Japan or IWGP Heavyweight Champion, and he's just tearing it up in AEW at the moment as a heel. He's got his Elite back together, and the Young Bucks. I feel that AEW has missed the opportunity to actually promote this match on their programming. I mean, it's not really their job to promote it, but they've got it's a champion versus champion match, and it's winner takes all, and those matches don't happen that often. I mean, my recent memory, from what I can remember, those matches where two different companies' champions face off for like a unification match. Yeah, this match should have brought the wrestling world to a stop, and it should have been on the mouths of everyone. But that aside, I feel this match is going to be a very good match. It is going to change the wrestling landscape forever. Whoever comes out of the match, the winner, taken more seriously. If it's Rich Swann, if Rich Swann wins the AEW World Championship, it'll get a lot more eyes on Impact Wrestling, and on the whole, if Kenny Omega wins the Impact Championship, well, we all know how good Kenny Omega is, and he's gonna be apparently defending both championships on both shows, and who knows, he may add more championships to his collection. I know that they were talking about having a match with the IWGP champion. It was Kota Ibushi, but now it's Will Ospreay. So who knows what will happen and when it will happen, or if it will happen. But the opening of the Forbidden Door in wrestling has just made things so much more exciting, and you know who could turn up in any of the companies that are involved, and that is quite an exciting time. Alright guys, thank you so much for watching this video. Please remember to like, share and subscribe to this channel, and ring the bell for notifications on new content such as this video. If you like this episode, please watch some of the other videos that this channel has got, and they will be appearing in this corner. And thank you guys.